On today's video, we're going to talk about the 3 things you need to consider before you put a dime into advertisement for your business. Do you want to hear them? Well, let's dive on in. So there are really 3 things you need to consider before you decide to put any kind of money behind your business through Facebook advertisements. These are things that I hold true to myself, as well as when I have people come to me for my products and services. I ask them whether they have these things in place themselves before I'll work with them. So the first one is, do I have a product or a service or an offer to give my target audience? Now, I know it's kind of a no-brainer. You don't necessarily want to be running ads for something if you don't actually have something to sell. But there are ads that can run that aren't a sale-based product. But essentially, when you get to the point where you want to sell something, you need to have something to sell. Seems pretty simple, right? Now, the problem is that just because you have something to sell doesn't mean putting ad spend behind it is going to actually help you to generate revenue from it. You really want to make sure that your product or your service is already converting and that offer is already proven successful to your warm audiences. So let's say you had a course that you were offering out and you wanted to now send it out into the cold market to determine whether people are going to buy it. The first thing you want to do is actually hit your warm audiences first and see how they resonate with it and whether they're actually liking it, whether they're buying it, whether they're raving about it. These are things that'll help you to determine whether a cold audience is actually going to like it or not. So really make sure you test out your products and your services to your warm audiences first. Make sure they're converting before you start putting ad spend behind it. The number 2 thing is, do I have an audience to sell to? I know everyone thinks that they can go and sell to the entire world, and as great as that would be, it doesn't happen. You have to be very specific on who you're speaking to. So you really need to dial into who your audience is, what their pain points are, and if your products and services actually hit those pain points. So get very specific on this. If you're speaking to moms who have small children, it's too much of an audience to say, I want to speak to moms with small children. What are their ages? What are their demographics? What are their likes? What are their interests? What pages are they following? What books are they reading? All of these things will help you to be able to really craft your ads to the right audience so that it hits the mark better with them and makes your ad spend go further. So really understand who it is you're speaking to and how you can get in front of them with your offer. Finally, the biggest one, do I actually have a budget for ads? Now, I always get businesses that come to me and they're like, I want to start running ads because I need to generate revenue for my business. And when I ask them, well, what is your ad spend? 9 times out of 10, they say, well, I'll spend whatever it takes to make a profit. That's fine, but that doesn't necessarily happen the way you want it to happen. Ads are part of an investment into your business. There are certain things that can be, you can determine your return of investment on them or your ROI, but a lot of ads with Facebook, you can't. You need to have audience building with your ads. So sometimes a large portion of your ad spend is actually building those audiences up first to know, like, and trust you before you turn around and sell to them. So if you just wanted to sell your products, having a budget just for that So if you had a product or service that you wanted to sell, it might not necessarily be the best course of action to just send it out into the world for a cold audience. So it relates back to our first 2 steps. Do you have a converting offer? Do you have an audience to sell it to? If those 2 things are in place, then essentially you should be able to start running ads for it. But depending on how big that ad budget is, the data is going to be the same whether you spend $5 a day or you spend $500 a day. But the data at $500 a day is going to come faster to you than at $5 a day. So let's say your offer is great, the audience loves it, but something's happening with your ads that's not selling. There could be something in your ads that's not hitting. Maybe it's the copy, maybe it's images, Maybe it's the landing page you're sending people to. Ads will actually tell you what is broken with your product or your service. So a lot of times our ad spend is being used to determine what is working and what is not working. So if you're at a point where you just need to spend money on ads because you're desperate to make a profit, you are not ready to run ads. Go back to your organic market and sell to them before you start running ads again. Ads cannot fix a broken business. They will only amplify whatever problems are currently having. So with your budget, I'd like to kind of relate it to going to Vegas. If you're not willing to put the money on the craps table and walk away empty-handed, you're not ready to run Facebook ads. They are a test to your business, they are a test to your offer, and they were a test to the data that you want to accumulate from that. So if you're not willing to spend money knowing that it may not generate revenue instantly for you, don't waste your time running ads at this point. So those are my 3 things to consider before you start running Facebook ads. Do I have a product or service to sell? Do I have an audience to sell to? And do I have a budget to run these ads for? If you like this video, I would love if you liked and shared below. Comments and let me know what you thought. Also in the bio section, you will find a free resource to help you along your way. I do hope you enjoyed. Love to talk to you later.